Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and today we're going to have a bit of a different video for me. This is my top 10 skirmish war games that I personally like. So at number 10, this is going to be quick and fast, so stick with me. We have Frostgrave by Joseph A. McCulloch and Osprey Games. So anyone who knows about war games probably knows about Frostgrave. It's one of the biggest non-GW games about, and this is the space version of it. It uses the same rules, it uses the D20 system with skill tests, etc. What I do like about it is that it's you have a captain and a first officer, and both of them are different. Unlike Frostgrave, where your apprentice is just like a watered down version of your wizard, in this your captain could be like a Han Solo rogue, while your first officer could be a robot or a sort of psychic warrior, etc. So there is some variation in who they are, and they are individuals. Now the book is absolutely beautifully laid out, as all Osprey books are, and it's laid out really well. The rules are written clearly, and the art, as with all Osprey games really, is absolutely beautiful. I love this art. I wish I could get some actual prints of this art, because it is amazing stuff. They're really nice looking pictures. As pictures, you don't have to actually have them in a book, and it's beautiful. So there are 5 expansions and a side hustles pack, which I think is sort of like extra objectives to do in the game. So if you know anything about Frostgrave, you know that this is a 2-player game, so you have one war party against another war party, and they're usually both trying to achieve something. They're both battling each other, but over a certain objective, etc. It's a low count miniature game. It's miniature agnostic, although North Star military figures do have both plastic and metal miniatures that you can get for this game. Lovely books. You will probably find someone to play this game with, although you may have to find supply them with both the crews, etc. to let them have a go. But most people wouldn't be too resistant about having a game of Frostgrave. So number 9, we have Space Station Zero by Snarling Badger. This is written by Adam Loper and Vince Venturuela, both YouTubers. Adam Loper sort of does that Uncle Atom sort of motivational, sort of teach you newcomers how to do the hobby type of YouTube channel. And Vince Venturuela is an amazing painter, and yeah, just a super painter. I don't actually watch a lot of his stuff because it makes me feel quite depressing how good a painter he actually is. So, Space Station Zero is a solo miniature game, so it's only for one player, and it's about a band of you're a crew and you've landed on a space station in the middle of nowhere, and you're not sure how you got there, etc. And there's other crews that are all sort of lying around the hangar, and they have no idea how they got there either. All that they know is they're stuck there because they can't fly in any direction to get any help or to get to any other planet, because they're that far from everywhere. So most of them are just lying around getting drunk, etc. But your crew decides to go off on a wander and try and see if they can get their way through the space station, understand it, maybe even get off it, in the end. Now the book is I would say, sort of print-on-demand style book. It's that sort of quality. The art is nice, but the paperwork is, kind of thin, kind of, okay, The art, I would say, is very sort of cartoon, gonzo, punk rock style, which I think was very much influenced by Uncle Atom, because he kind of likes that sort of rock band sort of look about stuff. Now, it's specifically designed to be a miniatures agnostic game, so no miniatures are made for this game, so you have to go looking for miniatures, which is a good thing and a bad thing, depending on who you are. It's almost like a choose-your-own-adventure and the rules book built into one. So it tells you how to play the game, but then it also gives you like a module to play through. So the thing is like a choose-your-own-adventure thing, it's a... how do I say this? it's a path that you're following that's branching off in, you know, depending on how well you've succeeded or what decisions you made, etc. So in the end, you will have finished this book. It may take you many playthroughs, but in the end, you could finish this book, and you know, you would have played through it, and maybe then there wouldn't be a playthrough factor to it. But it's not an expensive game, so yeah, that's why it's my number 9. It's a really fun game, and I think you might enjoy playing it as a solo game. So number 8, Kings of War Vanguard by Mantic Games. So I don't think Mantic actually support this game anymore, which is really unfortunate because I really enjoyed this game. I think it was released during like lockdown, etc. So it was kind of unlucky release time. You know, it kind of didn't get the play that it should have got, etc. But you know, you can find this book lying around somewhere if you go on, you know, eBay or, you know, something like that. So it's a skirmish game with Kings of War at heart. So it's got all of the factions that are in Kings of War, etc. But it's made for a skirmish adventure. So there's, you know, smaller groups. It's a 2-player game, so it's versus each other, usually over an objective, although not. It's kind of a soft objective. More really, you want to beat the living shit out of each other, and you know, that kind of thing. It uses D8s and exploding D8s and power dice, etc. The book is nicely made. It's a small book, printed well, lovely art, etc. The miniature range is huge, and you know, it's fairly reasonably priced because it's from Mantic, etc. You know, so yeah, you know, it's a good game. It's a shame that it's not supported anymore, because, you know, obviously it's going to be harder for you to find someone to want to play this game unless you have 2 war bands, you know, to get them into it, and then maybe they'll take, you know, they will carry it on from there. I bought it with like the miniatures, etc., and I really enjoyed the game. I really love it. Unfortunately, it's kind of been lost to time a little bit, but I still have the book, so I can still play it with my friends, etc. But yeah, unfortunately that's why it only reaches number 8 for me, because although it's easy, the rules are clear, it's a lovely little game, it's a simplified kind of Warhammer skirmish, if you will. You know, it's got loads of different like factions, and yeah, it was a lovely game. Unfortunately, it's kind of lost to time now, and I don't see it ever coming back. But there you go, that was Kings of War Vanguard. So my number 7, Mantic's Walking Dead All-Out War miniatures game. Now, I'm not sure if you can still get this box set, which is unfortunate, but you can still get the game. There's a big book now, and etc. Now, lovely range of miniatures based on the comic books, etc. This box set was a lovely box set. Now, the rule book is that thick, so it's not even a book, it's a booklet. It's nicely laid out, it shows you exactly what you need to do, and it's easy rules for fun, which I would say that's pretty much Mantic's slogan, really, is easy rules for fun. But the miniatures are absolutely lovely. You can still get like the whole range of miniatures. They sort of following the seasons, if you will. So, you know, there's like a Negan season, there's a... I don't actually watch Walking Dead, so I can't really tell you exactly which ones are what. But yeah, it's kind of going along the seasons that were in the series of comic books, etc. There's a lovely mechanic in this game where, you know, it's a versus, so there are 2 players with your tiny little warband, so it's 3-4 miniatures, etc., where you're playing against each other, but you're kind of using the world to your best help you. So like the zombies, you can shoot a gun and they come towards the noise, so you can kind of draw the zombies in to attack other players, etc. It's really quite a fun mechanic, etc. They use proprietary dice, these weird hit dice, etc. But, you know, apart from that, it's easy to get into, and, you know, I think most people will be able to play this game. It's it feels kind of board gamey. It's like on a kitchen table size size, which is really good if you haven't got much space to play out. And it feels almost like a board game, but it is a miniatures game, so that's why I really enjoy this game. So that is The Walking Dead All Out War. At number 6, we have Last Days Zombie Apocalypse by Ash Barker and Osprey Games yet again. Osprey Games, they do some really good work. So you might recognise the name Ash Barker. Ash Barker is Guerrilla Games, the YouTube channel. So if you don't know him, you should know him. Go over to his channel and watch some of his battle reports because they are usually very entertaining. So it's a 2-player game, so you can versus, but there's also a co-op and a solo play of this game, which is how I actually first got into it, was through the solo play, because it was during lockdown that I started playing this game. So there you go. It's a low model count game, so you have like about 5 miniatures, say, on each side, etc. Apart from zombies, you're going to need quite a few zombies to play this game. But, you know, if you've got Zombicide or something like that, you're going to have so many zombies, you will not know what to do with them. It's a models agnostic game, so you can find any sort of zombie survivors that you want to use, and you can use them. It is a beautifully made book with absolutely gorgeous art. Like, look at that art. It is beautiful art, and, you know, worthy of a poster. And, yeah, really enjoy this game. Really good game. There is one expansion called Seasons, which I do have, bingo, and that sort of gives you a bit more of how to play it solo and like seasonal effects, etc. Now this game uses D6s, so everyone has got a D6 in their house somewhere, I am sure. Even if you have to raid your Monopoly or whatever, you will find your D6s. So yeah, it captures the zombie genre brilliantly. It's such a fun game and really enjoyed playing it. If you want to see the mechanics of how the game plays, you could always look in my playlist and you will find me actually playing through some games of this on my channel. So yeah, that'd be really good, and that'd be supporting me also if you can put a like on that video. And yeah, if not, go over to Ash's channel over at Guerrilla Games and you'll see him play through this. And yeah, really fun game, really quick, easy to get into, and yeah, can't really praise this one enough. So I have 3 honourable mentions to mention here. So the first one is Draculas America by Jonathan Haythornthwaite. Haythornthwaite? I hope I said his name right. It's an awkward name to pronounce with my accent, but yeah. So it's Draculas America by Osprey Games, and as always, the book is absolutely gorgeously laid out, beautiful art in it, and it's kind of like Dracula went to America, killed off the president, and took over America. So now you've got this weird West going on where you're running around killing each other. It's a 2-player game, so you know, you're versus the other warband, etc. But it's yeah, it's a really interesting game. Nice world. Shame I haven't got many cowboy miniatures, which is kind of the drawback of this game, is I haven't got a lot of miniatures for it, and that is why it's only getting an honourable mention. So next we have Gaslands Refueled, or Gaslands, whichever thing, again by Osprey Games, which everything seems to be by Osprey Games that I like, and this is by Mike Hutchinson. So yeah, it's very much X-Wings, but in the Mad Max universe, if you will. You're riding around in cars, shooting each other, and, you know, competing in like games, rallying around the racetracks, doing all these sort of shenanigans from Death Race 2000, etc. And yeah, really good game, really fun game. The only reason why it's only an honourable mention for me is because it feels like one of those games that you play a game, and then you put it away and, you know, you go and play your other game. It's kind of a filler game, it feels like, for me, and I know that's terrible for me to say, because I know there's a lot of people who this is their sole game and they'll play it all day long, every day. But for me, that's what it feels like. It's, you know, it's like X-Wing. I would just get it out, play a few games, and yeah, that was fun, and put it away. You know, there's no like campaign, which, you know, is kind of what drives me on in games. So finally, we have 5 Parsecs from Home, 3rd edition by Modifius. Now, this is a solo adventure wargame, as it says there. Why it's only an honourable mention for me is because it kind of gives you a wider rule set without actually telling you how to play a lot of the rules. It's kind of like, here's a bunch of ideas of how to link things together and how to play this game. Now it's up to you whether you use them or not. Well, that's not me. I like to be, here's how you play it, ram down my throat, show me how to do it, get it done, etc. Now, it's a miniature agnostic game, and it's very small count over a small area, etc. And loads of people absolutely love this game. For me, it's okay. It's a bit vague for me, and that's why it's only an honourable mention. So at the big number 5, it's Deadzone by Mantic Games. So this is a competitive 2-player game, so it's a versus game, small skirmish, etc. It's a well thought out world with factions to choose from. You can be the Vermin, you could be the GCPS, you could be the Enforcers, you can be Maison Labs, you could be the Marauder. There are loads and loads of groups that you can be, and that's really cool. I like it. The world is very well thought out. Now it comes in like a starter box, which is where I got this. I've got this starter box, and I got the one that was previously released. I really like this rule set. For me, it feels like playing one of the skirmish maps on XCOM, if you will. So when like an alien craft crashes, etc., you go in and you start fighting the baddies, and then once you're finished, it's done, type of thing. That's what I would feel like this would be like. It's not. I don't play it as like a continuation story. It's a 2-player deathmatch. Feels most like a board game of any of the games that are on my list. It's kind of very much like you play it and you're done, I know other people play it other ways, and they do play it as a campaign, but I don't feel like that's the way it was originally made. This is very much feels like you would go to a convention and play through a few missions against other people and see if you could get to like the top or whatever. That's how this game feels to me. Whether you feel the same, I don't know. So it uses the exploding D8 mechanic, which is the same with most Mantic games, and command dice. So, you shake a dice and you can get an extra move or an extra shoot or whatever to play through, etc. There's huge amounts of miniatures available for this game, and they're reasonably priced because, it's for the firefight universe, etc. So, they are well supported armies for each of these things. The starter kit comes with 2 forces, the books you need, and terrain. They're brilliant starter kits for Deadzone, and really can't really say how good the starter sets are for this game. So what makes this game a bit different to most other miniature war games is you move in cubes. So say each cube is that big. Okay, so you get 1 cube there, you got another cube there, you got another cube here, and your board is broken down into that many cubes, etc. A bit like a chessboard, but only the cubes are bigger. And you can move, say, 2, so you can move 1, 2 into this cube, but you can go anywhere in that cube, and you can put yourself behind cover, or you can put yourself in the open, or, there's a lot of freedom in that movement, etc. And yeah, it's really kind of weird when you come up from a different game to play that, and it feels strange, that you can go anywhere in this cube, but this cube is huge, so whereabouts in this cube can I go? And it's anywhere, and that kind of be weird. Also, this game plays on verticality a lot, so a lot of boards will go up, and you get bonuses from going up and shooting down, etc., which makes sense. The rules are easy, and Mantic know how to make easy, fun rules. So as a versus game, this is probably the game I would teach a newbie. I've taught my wife how to play this game, and she has no interest whatsoever in versus games, yet she likes Deadzone. She finds it strangely that she enjoys playing it, and I think because it kind of feels like a board game, that's what she likes about it. And that is weird to me because I'm kind of the opposite way. I like the freedom of a miniature war game where, you know, I can go anywhere on the board, I can make these weird worlds, but she likes the structure of Deadzone. And, you know, I think a lot of people might find that the same as my wife. So number 4 is Frostgrave, 1st edition or 2nd edition by Joseph A. McCulloch and Osprey Games. Yes, Osprey Games again. So this is a 2-player game. Versus warband versus another warband, usually fighting over a central objective, although they tend to like beating the living daylights out of each other more than actually doing that. Now, it's a widely available game with more expansions than you could ever shake a stick at. There are so many expansions to this game. It's a miniatures agnostic game, although again, all miniatures are available through North Star military figures, so they do an official range, and you can get them through North Star. The rules are easy to get and grasp, but they're complex enough that you can sort of it takes a while to master it, etc. The rules are laid out beautifully, as always with Joseph McCulloch's stuff, and with Osprey. You know, you get this beautiful art from these books. It's worth it almost for the art for Frostgrave. It is absolutely gorgeous. The world is well established around the idea of Felstad, so a city which has been frozen and it's finally started to thaw out, and it turns out that it was magic that froze the city, and the Felstad used to be like the centre for weird magics, etc. So all of these wizards suddenly decide, I'm going to go there and get this weird magic and, you know, make myself more powerful. But because you've decided it, so have all the other magicians and warbands, and you kind of meet up in the middle and start whacking hell out of each other, etc. Now, my only slight problem with this is that the apprentice is just a weaker version of the master or your main character, so, you know, they don't have much individuality, which I did like about Stargrave. That's the one thing I did think was really good. They gave a bit of individuality by making the second in command different to the first in, you know, your boss, etc. They did kind of approach some sort of individualization of a character by, in later expansions, introducing sellswords, which are like a hand-to-hand unit or a hero that you can kind of hire to join your group, who isn't like your wizard. He is different and he will do other stuff, etc. And I liked that expansion, and I liked having like an individual who isn't just a weaker version of your hero. Now, because it's a widespread game, you will find other players playing this game, and it should be quite easy to find people who would either be happy to play a game with you or happy to talk to you about this. I would consider this the spiritual successor to Mordheim. It's Mordheim, but personally, don't shoot me, I think the rules are better laid out to a more modern crowd than Mordheim. Yeah, I know, I'm waiting for the screams and the boos, but that's my opinion and I'm going to stick with it. So there's loads of hobby sort of follow-ons from this game. So with Frostgrave, you have to make your warband. Obviously, it's a versus game, so you have 2 warbands fighting each other. But then each adventure, say, would be like a battle over the wishing well, or battle of the library, or battle, I don't know, for the secret snakes or something weird. So it gives you plenty of things that you as a crafter and as a hobbyist can make and do and buy and paint. You know, it's not like, okay, we've given you everything you'll ever need, now you don't need to do anything, you don't have anything to do. There is always something that you can make, build or paint with Frostgrave. So character creation is amazing, really enjoy that, and warband building feels sort of D&D light, kind of like the character creation, etc. They're more monsters, spells, and scenarios than you'll ever need to do. You would have troubles getting through every mission, and you probably will never meet all the monsters that you will meet in this game, because there are so many of them. Some schools of spells and some spells I feel are still overpowered even in 2nd edition, but especially in 1st edition. So really, if you're going into playing this game, you would think, oh, I'm going to be an elementalist, and you probably are right to do so. You got the best spells, you'll fight the best. So it can be sort of min-maxed a bit, and I don't like that at all. I like to be like, oh, let's randomly pick what school of magic we're in, and I rather that sort of game than I'm going to min-max this, so, you know, my people are the absolute best they can possibly be, and, you know, sort of number crunch the game. I don't enjoy playing against people who number crunch the game too much. My Little Pony notebook. Yeah, that number crunch the game too much. I don't enjoy playing against those type of people, and, you know, I know a lot of people do that, and I'm sorry if you are that person, but I don't find that very enjoyable, and I'd rather play it for fun than, you know, play it to try and beat the game and sort of metagame it. I like the way that it's sort of a continuation between missions, etc. So, you know, you get your wounds, or you might get a magic, or you might get a boon, etc., which will carry on to the next game, and your party will carry on, and it's sort of like the continued adventures of Blood's, you know, warband or whatever, you know. And I like that. I like that sort of campaign that, you know, is just carrying on telling the story, and I really like that. So I do really like Frostgrave, and I think it's a really good book and really nice to get into. So that is my number 4, Frostgrave, 1st or 2nd edition. So number 3, Frostgrave, Ghost Archipelago. So again by Joseph A. McCulloch, and of course by Osprey Games. I love Joseph A. McCulloch's system that he uses, and I think he's a really good world builder, etc. So this is a 2-player game, so again it's a warband versus another warband. It's the lesser known little brother of Frostgrave and Stargrave, etc. And it's very underappreciated. It came out between Frostgrave 1st edition and 2nd edition, and you can kind of see the mechanics of 2nd edition sort of seep its way from Ghost Archipelago. So this is more like the modern 2nd edition than the 1st edition, but it's all the same system, and is, you know, a wonderful system that he has made. So the book is beautifully laid out and has beautiful art, you know, really rich, beautiful full page arts, etc. Now what I do like about this, like I liked about Stargrave, is that you have a 1st in charge and a 2nd in charge. Your 1st in charge is called the Heritor. Now the Heritor, so 1,000 years ago this island appeared, the Ghost Archipelago, and upon that island was this fountain of youth, and there was all this magic and wonderful things on this island, and this one of the Heritors sort of drank from this fountain of youth and returned home. They gained these magical special Superman-like powers that, you know, let them rule the world, but slowly they died out over 1,000 years, and you are his great carry-on grandson or granddaughter. So you still have some of the powers that he had, but not many. You are the watered-down version. But you will team up with the Warden, who is a magician who knows how to, like, talk to animals or use water or earth, etc. I'll leave you on this page while I explain. So the island has returned again, and you get this pull to go there. So you go to the island in search of this magic water, which you know your ancestor drank from and left you with these powers. Now these powers are good, but they're not superpowers. They're not like they used to be. So you might be able to, like, have fearsome eyes which make people turn away rather than fight you, or you may be able to throw a stone like an arrow, or, you know, something like that. They're good, but they're not like super powered. And you have the wizard there to help you, and the warband, etc. So I like that the two characters are separate and they have different powers and different interests, etc. The world is rich. I love the world again, really nice. There are quite a few adventures between this and the expansions that are available. I have 2 of them there. The rules, like I said, are sort of 2nd edition Frostgrave-ish, so they're solid rules, and it's an ongoing story following your warband, through thick and thin, getting treasures, getting boons, getting injured, maybe even dying, which will be not too good, but that is at least an end to the story, if you will. Like I said, it's the less widely known version of Frostgrave, but in my opinion, actually a better game. In my opinion, because I rathered it. But, it's going to be a lot harder for you to find someone who will play this game or knows of it. So that's my number 3 of best skirmish war games. So number 2 is This Is Not a Test by Joseph Maguire. Now, this is a post-apocalyptic Fallout, Mad Max, etc. world by World End Publishing. Now, I think it's going to be distributed by Blacksite Studios. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so, in the near future, which would be brilliant, because I think the reason why this game has never really took off as well as it could have is because of its distribution, etc. So it's a miniatures agnostic game, although there are official miniatures through their website. If you go to World's End Publishing, you will be able to find the official thing. There are many expansions. I do have most of them. So the expansions add stuff like cannibal warbands, robots, like a Brotherhood of Steel type gang that are trying to get like all the future remaining tech that's about, etc. Yeah. It's really cool. Now, the book is, because I had my book when it was like very hard to get, and it feels very sort of self-published, print on demand, but the layout is brilliantly done, and the art is really nice, really pretty art, good painted miniatures, explains everything really well. And yeah, the trouble is with this game is, 1, it'd be very hard to find someone who knows about it. 2, it's very hard to explain why it's so good. I have had a video in the past where I tried to explain it, but not many people saw that because it was many, many years ago. But why this game is so good, I will try quickly to explain. So it's such a fun game. It's got this unique sort of mechanic of a D10 system where to activate a person, say you got a metal of 3, which is your activation skill, say, you need over 7, so you need to shake a 4 or more to activate that miniature. Now, if you succeed, you get 2 actions and you can like move and shoot or whatever. But if you fail, and then once he had done his move, you'd shake for the next person. Now I shake the dice, and this person fails his activation roll. Now he only gets 1 action, and then it passes on to the other player, so they get to roll for their activation. Now it's a really good way of keeping you engaged and keep you watching what the other player is doing. You can't really tune out because you have to really be watching, etc. Now the other good thing about it is when you shoot him, say your first person succeeded and he used both his actions and what have you to shoot the enemy. Now I know I've hit him, but I got activated my next player. We don't see if I've killed him until I fail an activation. So I could be like, well, I really need this guy dead. So I get my second person to shoot at him and to make sure that I hit him. Okay, but have I killed him? I don't know until I've failed my activation. So I shake for the next person. He fails his activation, so he only has 1 action. So he's going to shoot him as well. So that's 3 people who shoot him. But I could find out that my first guy actually killed him, and I wasted those 2 other actions. And that makes it really interesting because it makes it fun and keeps you engaged. I really enjoy that. There's like a campaign, so there's ongoing effects, so that, you know, like in between games you can be injured or poisoned or killed, but you might also find like power armor, and, you know, you have to spend the entire next game trying to fix it or something like that. But after each game, which is in a game into itself, there's like a wander in the wastelands, if you will. In between Fallout missions, you go and like do these things like, okay, you got your deck of cards and you draw a 6. That means you get 12 barter script or whatever. You know, you times it by 2 or 3, I can't remember. But that's not your currency. But you might get like a face card, so like a red Queen of Hearts or something. And that might mean you've stumbled across power armor just in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, okay, do you decide to try and disarm this power armor so that you can take the core with you, or do you decide to try and fix it so that you can use this power armor in the next game? And there'd be like, you know, tests to do for both of them. So, you know, you might end up blowing yourself up, or you may end up getting, say, trapped in the armor for the rest of your life, or whatever. You know, it's sort of in between games game, which is really good and makes it so much fun. So, like, with the super high-tech equipment, you can only have certain amounts of that high-tech equipment, and, like, it's very possible for it to break down. So you might have a gun that's absolutely amazing, but it'll break down all the time, and it's going to leave you with no weapons, etc. So, some of my favourite battle reports are for this game over at the Guerrilla Games. If you go over to Guerrilla Games on YouTube and watch Ash and Jay play through any of This Is Not a Test, you will see how much fun this game can be, and how really well written, and how it can be adapted into any post-apocalyptic situation you want it to be. Really cannot rate this game highly enough. Unfortunately, very hard to find anyone else who'll play it, and at the moment it's very hard to get the actual printed book, although I think you might be able to get it at the Wargames Vault, so you could go and see that. So we've made our way to number 1, and of course it's Rangers of Shadowdeep by Joseph A. McCulloch and Modiphius Games. Now I think I actually own the rights to this game. An amazing game, and if you didn't know this was going to be my number 1, you haven't been taking notice of my channel. It's a solo cooperative game that's 1 to 4 players. It's a story-driven game, much like a role-playing game module, and yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. The book is pretty decent by Modiphius. It feels a little bit print on demand. The art is beautiful, it's laid out really nice, and yeah, it's a really good, decent book. You get everything you need in this one book. So you get like 2 modules which are made up of, say, I think it's some like, well, it could be up to 10 sessions in each module, etc. So yeah, really good. It feels like a role-playing light book, really. It feels like Joseph again made the world and then made the rules. The rules are so good that you could put any skin on it and it will work. So my wife absolutely loves Supernatural, so I'm reskinning it to Supernatural. And you know, you can do that. There are people who've done it for Star Wars, for this, etc. Really good, really well thought out mechanics based on the Frostgrave, Ghost Archipelago, Stargrave, etc. rule system, but tweaked so that you don't need a versus system. It's widely available through stores, although it is miniatures agnostic. Again, you can get all the miniatures from North Star military figures. So the core book comes with 2 modules, I consider it. So the base and like the Burning Light, which are 2 separate adventures which are made up of loads of different scenarios in order to get through them. So it's really good, plenty of things for you to do in this individual book. The character creation is really fun. It is again role-playing light type mechanic with plenty of variation. So if you want an Aragorn like a hero, you can do that. If you want a Solomon Kane like hero, you could do that. Barbarian like Conan, or you could have like a slightly wizard-ish or scribe person. You could make all of those types of characters from this book. The world is both vague and well thought out, with plenty of scope for you to build on. So the story is that the Shadow Deep is slowly encroaching on the entire world, and your neighbours in Larenthia have been succumbed by the Shadow Deep, which is like this all-encompassing evil, just blackness which is expanding across the world. So the King of Alador, which is the kingdom you're from, decides to call upon his rangers, the Rangers of Shadowdeep, to go and investigate or see what they can do about it. So the Rangers are kind of the Mulder Scully special forces commando behind enemy lines, you know, that sort of guy, you know, that gets things done, you know. So you and your band are sent to go and do these missions to try and, you know, do something, you know, hold it back, do what they can to try and deal with the Shadow Deep. Now, if there's one player, you have your companions who go with you, who will be like your non-player characters who go with you that you make up. If there are 4 players, you don't have any companions, and, you know, in between, varying numbers of companions. Now, because this is a solo and co-op game, I think this is probably the best war game to teach someone how to play any miniatures war game, because you can get like the movement, the attacking, etc., spacing, etc. All that can be taught through this game without being a competitive game. So that's what I really like about this game, and this is the game I use to teach anyone how to play miniature games. There are multiple expansions, so I have had them all and I still have most of them. So there are mini expansions which have been included in this book, the Rangers of Shadowdeep Gathering of Heroes. So that's putting the Menagerie and Blood Moon, etc., all into this book. So it's like a compendium. But then there's the overarching grand campaign, which there are 3 books across the ways, the Tenebrous Tower, and I forget the other one, but there's another one, and that's like a grand campaign which you can get involved with. But all in all, Rangers of Shadowdeep is the best game I have ever played, and if you're ever gonna buy a game and you only want to buy one game, Rangers of Shadowdeep will last you the longest, because you can play it with other people, you can play it on your own, and there are different events that can happen which never happened before in your games, so it makes a great variation. I have put some videos up of me playing this game, so if you are interested, you could check out my playlist and you will find Rangers of Shadowdeep playthrough. So that's been it. That's been my top 10 miniature war game skirmish games. And what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you put some games in higher, lower? Would you put other games in which I didn't even mention? Let me know in the comments below. So while you're here, if you've sat through all this, please leave a like, maybe even subscribe, because that really does help the channel grow, etc., and get to other people. I reply to every single comment that's left on my channel, so if you want to leave a comment, please do. But until next time, it's going to be goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Gamer.